What's up, everybody? Welcome back to our channel.
Hey, what's going on, guys? We are about to shoot the behind the scenes footage of the third episode of Going the Distance with NikoRox
Podcast.
Podcast.
Don't say it like I said.
I'm South African. What you mean?
Ooh, yeah.
So yeah, we're about to just jump into it. So enjoy.
Enjoy the show. Make sure everything is closed. Okay, let's do it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Going the Distance with NikoRox. I'm your host, Roxanne, aka Roxc, and I'm joined by my husband and co-host, Nikolai.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. Welcome.
Going the Distance podcast is a space where we share our story and the ins and outs of long distance dating.
So we are back for episode 3. For those that are just tuning in now, what you missed, we're basically per request have been getting a lot of questions about our experience with our whole dating experience, everything that has led us up to the point that we are now married, living under the same roof. And so we're delivering. We are giving you guys exactly that.
Giving the people what they want.
Exactly.
And you're welcome. And thank you for joining us.
And so just to give you an update, in the first 2 episodes, we talked about my first time coming to Cape Town, meeting Roxc, and all the way up until me leaving, us really starting to embark on a long distance relationship and officially getting the title boyfriend girlfriend.
Yes. So at this point in that year, this all happened in 2015. I'm not sure if we've given them a date like to when this all started, but I mean in our entire relationship now we've been together for 4 years.
5
years.
5 years.
My math sucks.
Yeah.
Clearly. But this all happened in 2015. So we are still in that year. And we managed to see each other in May as a result of me coming out to New York. I go back to Cape Town. We still keeping up the communication and doing all of the video calls and voice notes and texts. And then I actually stopped working at the club that we met at.
That's right. That was something I actually was thrilled about. We met there. Work was starting to pick up for Roxc, and for the woman that I planned to spend my life with, I just didn't like the idea of Roxc working in a club. I don't have, I understand what happens in nightclubs. I was that person, chasing tail in a nightclub. It just, the connection or the relationship I have to nightclubs has not been very positive for, relationships. Mm-hmm. It's more of a single life. So the fact that things were really getting serious,
you were happy about that.
Excited to know that you were leaving that environment.
I do feel like it had run its course, me working there. And I mean, I walked away with having met you, which was great, but it just came to a point where, I don't know, you didn't want to be around those types of people and the influences, and knowing that people have that easy access to you, that became a thing as well. So I'm glad that I ended up leaving. But as you said, work was picking up. It was still pretty much local season. Mm-hmm. So I had gotten a brief for this one job where a show was in its second season of at least the audition process. I heard about the show in the first season and I actually really wanted to audition for it, but I don't remember what it was. Just maybe my schedule was conflicting with the shoot dates. So I get the audition from my agency. I submit a written, proposal as to, or like yeah, sort of like a proposal as to why I should be on the show, why they should choose me. I get called into audition, and then I make it to the nationwide round of auditions. So they fly me out to Johannesburg, where I have to compete essentially with 50 other females. The name of the show was called She's the One, for those of you who don't know. And let me clarify, it's not in any way, shape, or form a dating show, because a lot of people had that perception when they heard the name. Sort of like The Bachelorette or something. That's absolutely not what it was about. So 13 women get placed in one house, and the end goal is for you to obviously win the competition. That was my end goal. But if you thought you had what it took to make it in the industry, then that was the show for you in any aspect, whether it's modeling, acting, singing, being a makeup artist or a stylist. Entertainment was the premise of the show.
Yeah.
But the format that they followed was just putting us through various challenges. And I get flown up to Johannesburg, I go and do this audition, and I get chosen to be in the show. So out of those 50, it gets narrowed down to 13. And even though I was so open to it, when it came down to like, how badly do you want it, they gave me either 24 or 48 hours to make the decision to fly back to Cape Town, pack my bags, and then move. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
It was high intensity, and it was kind of last minute because production didn't give us all that info.
Yeah, no, I remember really clearly because I was concerned about, Yasmin and, what's going to happen with Yas. And, I was super excited for you. It was an amazing opportunity, but we were just trying to figure out the logistics. And even with me, being in the States, to me, that was a big concern of mine. It was like, okay, I still wanted to make sure that
she was going to be
sorted, or that she was going
totally,
to be in a good space.
And that was the exact same thought or feeling that my mother had. So I mean, you and my mom were the ones I had these conversations with. Oh my gosh. Yes, literally, my mother and my husband's birthday is 2 days apart.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So that was both of your concerns, which were obviously valid, and that would have been the only reason why I never took that opportunity, was just because out of concern, especially due to the fact that my family, my core family, had moved out of Cape Town. So it was already just Yasmin and I. But I knew that I needed to, with no doubt in my heart, I knew I needed to take this opportunity, that I was in the right place at the right time. I had my eye on the prize. So I was able to get my grandmother to move into my place and be with Yasmin, head back to Johannesburg and start filming for the entire season. But the tricky part was we never knew when we were going to be able to go back home. The only time you get sent home is when you are eliminated from the show, and nobody wants to willingly leave that way. So throughout that 3-4 month period of me filming the show, Niko was definitely my safe place, my sane place. Because here I am, going from just living with my daughter to living in a house with 13 or 12 other females that I don't know. 2 of them I knew, but for the most part, there's a lot that can happen when you live with a female. You know that. So for all these strangers to be in my space, it was quite challenging. However, our communication improved during that time.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't miss a beat. You were embarking on an amazing opportunity, but you kept me in the loop as far as everything was going. I felt like I was a member in the house. It was pretty cool to kind of get the behind the scenes footage of what was happening while you guys were taping. I got to get familiar with a lot of
the girls in the house as well. So they were
so it was a pretty cool experience.
They were kind of integrated as well. But what kept me sane was being able to have that person And you were that person that kept me grounded and kept me motivated, especially when it really got difficult. And having access to the gym and working out a lot.
Yeah, and while all this was happening, I don't know, now I don't even remember if this happened while I made the move or I had already made the move to California.
Well, which month did you move out to California? Because this was between July, August, September, October.
So yeah, I moved in June. So it was, I had
around the same time.
Just moved to California. I was still getting my bearings in LA, trying to get myself situated. I had taken a road trip to Arizona to meet with my very first agency who was gonna kind of manage me and help me find representation in Los Angeles. I was, couch surfing. I was bouncing from my sisters initially to my mom's, and just trying to get something stable, but also knowing the amount of travel that I was doing to, be able to come see you, and you just wanting myself to, not have, rent and locked down. I was, bouncing around from my sisters to my mom. So this was something kind of exciting for both of us, because I'm, grinding in California, trying to, figure things out. And
we also had to get used to having an additional hour, because now we were 10 hours apart.
Yeah, that's true.
And in the beginning, it was really pretty annoying, because I was like, we just got into a flow with that 9-hour time difference. And 1 hour doesn't seem like too much, but it's quite easy to live past each other. So we still had to be intentional with the time that we did have, to how we were gonna, still be that person to wake you up, or be the first person that we speak to, or the last person.
Yeah, it was just it took some adjustment, just making sure that now we, that 1 hour with our schedules. And because it was funny, because in the beginning you'd be like, where are you, or what are you doing, or kind of anticipating a wake-up call, or just like we get in the mold.
I was actually.
And then it's like, I was gonna call you like in an hour, and you're like, no.
Yes, and then we started. That happened quite often until we got used to it. Was there anything that stood out in that time period, that first 4 months, let's say, of you being back in California, and with me being on the show, where, I don't know, that was like a funny memory, or something that you remember fondly or not so fondly? I have one, but I was just wanted to ask you if you have one.
I can't think of one.
Maybe I need to tell mine, and then it will kind of like,
that sounds good,
like maybe spark something.
Okay.
Because when we were quite close to, I would say we had done a few elimination rounds in the show, and we were maybe down to like the top 5 or 6, and we got an opportunity to script, write, direct, and put on a performance, a theater production essentially, for a children's home in Johannesburg. And it was pretty exciting, but the message and the story was something quite deep and personal for a lot of us involved. And you had something planned over that weekend. I'm not sure if you went to Arizona or if you were in Vegas, somewhere with the guys. It was a boys' weekend. But, everything was great. I had spoken to you, and you were on your way out, maybe around about 7 p.m. SA time, 8 p.m. And then when I woke up the next day, I never had a message from you. And I was like, okay, well, you must still be having a good time. The next day at like 10 a.m., 11, 12 comes, 1 p.m. comes, 2 p.m. I'm like, where are you? Because now I'm annoyed. So I'm calling you. And no, I don't know if you guys are aware, but if you're phoning someone on WhatsApp, the phone will ring even if the phone's dead. So in my mind, I'm just like, yo, this phone's ringing and you're not even picking up. And I haven't spoken to you since last night. So I was getting annoyed.
I think it was Arizona.
Must be. Well, either one of them.
It was a guys' weekend because Vegas was Archie's bachelor party, but
no, it wasn't that.
It wasn't. It was Arizona. It was a guy alumni weekend.
Listen, this guy.
I think this was like my first. Oh yeah, this was like the first time I experienced Roxy being upset, blowing me up.
Not the first time.
I feel like
me
that
being
was
upset?
no, that was like the first time where it was you were trying to track me down.
I was trying to track you down. Because in my mind, even if I spoke to you at 7 p.m. the night before, whether you are out or whatever, I'm going to have a text at least to say, hey, I'm heading home, or actually I'm still out. But I never had a text, and I was calling you and texting you. And by 4 p.m. that afternoon, as we were about to leave to this children's home and put on this production, you called me as I was walking out the door, and you're like, hey, babe. Yo. Hey. I was not impressed at all. Because not only because of the fact that you were quiet and I hadn't heard from you, and in my mind the phone's ringing but you're not picking up. So then what I would do is, if I don't get through on WhatsApp and I'm trying to get hold of you that badly, I will get airtime and make that international call. Did I or did I not?
You definitely did.
Yes. And to make matters worse, I guess my mother-in-law texted me or she sent me a message on Facebook and she couldn't get hold of you. So now I'm worried. And I'm thinking, if you are in the same country as your mother and she's asking me, hey, have you heard from Niko? Because I can't get a hold of him. So now I start to worry, and it's just like, I don't know, all these things run through your mind. It's past being annoyed. It's past thinking all these, like, thinking the worst things. You just really concerned. And when the person phones you and they fine,
hey babe, what's up?
You throw the whole person away.
But I'm glad you actually brought that up, because that is a perfect example of just the struggles any relationship has in the very beginning, trying to understand the different lifestyles. And I think for us, it just made it that much more difficult because we had to do this
from a distance.
So all of our arguments, everything was, over the phone, and, everything happened so fast with us, and it was new. Like, we were learning each other in the moment.
We were learning as we went.
Exactly.
Like learn as you go.
Exactly. So
it was trial and error.
Having those conversations or talking about boundaries. That's a big thing with relationships that, couples need to do. You need to know what are the boundaries. This is allowed. This is I won't tolerate. And we had to, develop that.
Sure.
From a distance and really understand, okay, these are Roxy's hot buttons. These are the things that, set her off, and being able to, okay, that's something that is not unreasonable of a request, or she's just concerned. Sure. She just wants, because I was with my buddies. I've always had this mentality. I was with my buddies. We would get together every year back to our college, go see a football game, and it was just a fun, crazy weekend, a lot of drinking. But when I'm in that circle of guys who I'm close with, where I don't see all the time, you're not selfishly, you're not thinking about anything else. You're just like in the moment having a good time. So that was an aha moment, or pump the brakes moment. It was like, hey, check yourself. You're in a relationship. Like, I know you have good intentions, you're just having a good time, but you have somebody that's also concerned and just wants to make sure that you're safe
That
and
you're
the
safe.
well-being.
Totally.
So, that was, something that
We had to learn.
we had to learn.
Sometimes you don't even have the conversation. I mean, I feel like there's so much more information available to people now that if they wanted to have all these conversations before becoming serious in a relationship or exclusive dating experience, that would be almost more normal. But I feel like in the past, you kind of went along until you hit that road bump and then had to, find the tools to overcome them.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that can be spoken about before you dive headfirst into a relationship. But there's also things that organically happen with time.
And luckily, both of us are sure of ourselves and confident, because there's a level of insecurity that could easily set in when the time that you were going out or just me going out, and you just having to have that trust or that peace of mind that trust. That they're not doing anything to disrespect what you guys are trying to develop. So moving back to your show, you were in the middle of doing this show, and this was really big for me. This was kind of the final stamp of approval when you surprised me in California.
Yeah, that was I guess there was so much going on with the show and me being away from Yasmin. And there were actually times, or at least one time I can think of, in the span of me filming the show, where I was really, really stressed out, because I'm not sure if it's a norm in America, but the show that I was on was a non-paying show. So I was not being paid to be out there that long and to film this TV show. And bills still have to be paid. Bills are still stacking up back in Cape Town. And thankfully I had some jobs that I would get paid my renewals, my residuals, and I was able to kind of, cover my bases. But there was a time period in the show where I wasn't able to pay either rent or my car or something. And that was the first time you sent me money as well. And that financial contribution was not something I was expecting, but something that I appreciated so much. Like, I don't know if I expressed that enough to you, but that really helped me a great deal. And then towards the end of the show, we never completed the entire season of filming, but we got to about the top 5, I think, or the top 4. And then we had a last sort of we had a meeting with the judges, and they were going to determine who was in the top 3. Once that was chosen, once the top 3 were chosen, we were going to go on a 3 or 4 week production break. And I had told you, okay, I'm going to have this meeting with the judges. It's one of the elimination rounds, but they aren't going to tell us. I don't even know what I said to you. But anyways, long story short, I get selected to be in the top 3 of the show. And at the same time, like it must have been that same week or 2 weeks prior, I had just gotten paid from another job I did 2 years ago, something I was not expecting. But the money was enough for me to travel abroad. So I knew, without a doubt, as long as my bills are paid, I'm going to come see you. Because at this stage, we haven't seen each other for 6 months. And I reached out to Niko's mom and to Niko's sister through Facebook, and we started planning a surprise. They helped me just kind of sort out the logistics of how we were going to do this, because all I knew was I needed to see you, but I didn't want you to know. So the lie that I told was something along the lines of we were going to go to Dubai, because how was I going to make up for all the hours of not speaking to you if I'm in South Africa. So I had to include a little
Yeah,
bit
you know there
about
was
it.
going to be a double standard. Like, you just was up mad at me for not making contact with you. Now you go in all these hours without us speaking.
Exactly. So I had booked the ticket, spoken to my mom and my sister-in-law, and they basically, okay, I knew Megan was going to take care of you, and Ma was going to pick me up at the airport. So that was sorted. I told you that we're going to do some type of elimination or some challenge in Dubai. Oh, I didn't even tell you the location. I just told you we needed to show up at the airport. I feel like this production was a perfect cover up for me to be able.
Yeah, because it was believable.
Because that's the type of
You're
things that
doing
we
a
were
lot
doing.
of different excursions, a lot of
Yeah.
different activities or challenges
Yeah.
that could have resulted in, going to another city.
or country.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Yeah, so it worked out.
Dubai was my connecting flight. That was where I did my layover.
And my mom was like, so I didn't know my mom and my sister were in on it. And my mom told me, hey, when you get a chance, I want to speak to you and your sister.
In their voice.
Yeah, it was like, it was dark. My wheels started spinning. I was like, my mom, sit, like, what's going on? I called my sister. She's in on it. She's probably laughing behind the phone. I'm like, hey, mom wants to speak to us on Friday. You have any clue what it could possibly be? Have you spoken to her about anything? She was like, I have no clue. That's kind of weird. How does she sound? And I said, it sounded like it could be kind of serious. So
maybe your mind just went there.
No, it was her tone for sure.
So I arrived in LA. I actually cried when I landed here. I was just like, yo, I'm gonna see my babes after 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
And my mom-in-law, she picked me up from the airport when that was the first time that I met her, and it was just like meeting someone I'd known for years. There was no awkwardness or anything like that. Just love, love, love. So much love. And
my sister took me out. I was with my brother-in-law. It was me, my sister, my brother-in-law, and my nephew. And we went to the mall. Or
yeah,
I think,
you guys were shopping.
because we were going to go to my mom's, and my mom wanted to talk to us, and she was like, hey, why don't you go get us some food? So
yep.
We went to get some, pickup. And it's crazy because I could have figured it out, but I'm so oblivious.
I don't know. I don't think you could
all the time. Well, because when we ordered the food, we ordered food for you. So if I would have just
like
counted
an extra amount, like just for extra.
But it was like so over my head. It wasn't like who's this extra one for?
That's funny.
What's going on? So completely went over my head.
And then you guys got home.
Yeah, and then
I was hiding in the room, in the bedroom. I was like, I don't want to be here when he walks in by the door. Let me rather just wait in the room.
And she took a long time, but my mom came out and she was in the, I don't know if you guys discussed like what the code word was going to be for you to come out, but she was like,
I don't know.
Okay, guys. And she was trying to project her voice a little bit more, I guess, so she could hear you.
I was nervous.
And she said, okay, guys, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. And I was face deep into my food.
You couldn't even wait to sit down. That's how you are today.
Was hungry.
Still, you always hungry.
I know.
I'm just like, at least you could have waited. What were you eating? Chicken?
Yeah.
Stuff in your face.
Like burrito bowls or...
Anyway. So I come in from the room and I'm like, I just missed you so much.
Yo, I fell out of my chair. My eyes were like popping out of my head.
Totally.
I so wish that we had the footage.
I may have messed up on my camera angle.
But my family has big mouths, so surprises is not one that usually sticks for very long.
Like, for real.
I fell out of my seat. I just was
Literally.
blown away. I just was like, whoa, what the heck is going on right now?
It's literally just getting this space over here. No, I should hide them. I'll wait until you say that. I'll hide them there.
Oh, wait, okay. Hey, guys. Hi. Come on in. You ready for me to tell you something? Right here. What are you guys eating?
We got the food.
The breakfast. So I want you guys to sit down so I can tell you something. There, Niko, you don't wait. You're just like ready to eat. What is that?
Well, I made him go to the mall.
So hungry too?
Oh,
He was hungry.
And like there's like real pimps and stuff?
Sit down, Travis. Because this might shock you a little bit too.
Big, just take a half an hour.
Okay. Ready?
I just wanted to say that, I love you and I miss you.
Oh.
Man, I was nervous like it was my bill.
Jesus.
I was like, let's get this
Took long
going.
enough. I'm trying to eat and stuff.
Why are you gonna be hungry all the time?
I love you.
Okay, please.
But-
Please. How are you doing?
Good, alright.
How's Dubai?
Dubai sucks. I don't care about Dubai.
This is my family!
Hi, Emily. How are you
This is
doing,
my
baby?
hat.
How was
That's
your
what
flight?
I'm
It was long.
Oh my god.
So long. But it was worth it.
So, hey.
Damn.
Oh my god. Surprise!
Surprise!
Yeah, bro.
Even Daddy, and he kept a secret.
I just told
Oh
them.
my goodness. I've never had a surprise like that.
She made me come out here and reposition the camera. She's like, he's gonna know it's my camera. I'm like, no, he won't.
It's on?
Yeah.
Oh, It's that's been recording the whole
Oh
Sad.
shit.
I hope I positioned it
But
right.
that was perfect because you came out and I was looking at you and then I turned I was like,
That was funny. I was like, whose camera is this?
You know how many times I said, okay, you want me to tell you? Because that was the key word for her to come out. And then I go and in the bedroom and she's hiding. I'm like, where did she go? I go in the bathroom, I'm looking in the shower.
Oh my
I'm like, I'm in the
gosh.
bedroom. I'm like, Roxy, where are you? And it comes out from behind my bed.
I'm shaking.
There's no inspector. You needed to clean for her.
Is this for me? No, he got her food.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like so oblivious. Like, damn.
Okay, maybe I should put the camera off now. That's what you think.
You had no clue.
No clue.
While he was in the shopping mall, he was still sending me videos.
I'm in the mall.
Yes.
And what she didn't know, I was actually looking at engagement rings.
Yep.
So my mind was already moving in that direction. I was starting to look at rings. I was getting, my sister's opinion, and we were just doing some ring shopping. But I didn't end up buying anything. And
That day?
yeah.
Oh.
And it was so funny to me because that surprise, I almost wanted to flip it on you and be like, oh, you surprised me? No, I surprised you
Oh my gosh.
with the ring. But it was a kind of a coincidence. But man, That was a
dope surprise.
that was a great surprise.
And I cried, obviously. Did you cry a little bit?
No,
Oh,
I didn't.
okay.
That's
That's
too.
okay.
I was too much shock.
Okay.
It's too much shock.
So I was able to spend about
2 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks in Los Angeles. That was my first time being here, and
It was around the holiday time. I took you
Yeah, it
ice
was
skating.
November. You showed me the sights. Did we go to Six Flags?
Yeah, we went to
Mhm.
Six Flags.
My first American, what do you call it?
roller
Theme
coaster.
park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we went to
was-
Disneyland
Oh, we did. I was here.
for Bennett's
Oh,
first
I
birthday.
had just missed Thanksgiving, and my sister-in-law was like, and my mom-in-law were very much keen to have another one or like a mini one that I could be a part of. So that was lovely. It's funny because when we were busy with our visa interview, or at least the process leading up to our visa interview, we both had to prove the validity and the extent of our relationship. And I'd gone back to Facebook and I saw all the messages between Ma and I printed it out and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what memories from then to now. But yeah, we had a little Thanksgiving. I was able to be here for your nephew's first birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So I met,
So you.
on this trip, I met your mom, your sister, brother-in-law, your nephew.
And you saw my dad again because he came
For
down
the
from
birthday.
Sacramento for the birthday.
Yeah.
So we got to all spend time together on that, and it was amazing for me. That was really what solidified it for me.
That's your whole, that's not just most of your family. Like
Yeah.
your core, that's your people.
Yeah.
And I was able to meet them all within the first year of meeting you. So that's pretty big.
Yeah. And so after you left, that was it for me. I think that was the deciding factor. That was me saying, okay, I think I'm really now ready to take the next steps. And so then I started planning and started ring shopping, and that the following,
Because I left at the end of November.
Mhm.
And then we had kind of decided that you were going to come in February.
yeah, no, so I wanted to surprise you. I was actually
you
coming to
did.
surprise you,
But then I was shooting
but you were
something.
shooting, and your
Not
mom
even
said
in
it
Cape
wasn't a
Town.
good idea because I think you were in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
So I had to stay in communication with you. But I had asked your mom for your hand in marriage. I had decided that I was going to, and it was so
When did you guys start speaking?
untraditional. I started a relationship with your mom over WhatsApp. That's
Okay.
how we
Did you ask
first had
me
our
for it?
first conversation.
How did you get a number?
I'm not sure. Maybe you gave it to me. Maybe she asked for it.
Possibly.
But we over Skype, WhatsApp. We started developing a relationship, but everything was virtual. And so after you left in November, I was set in my idea of wanting to get engaged. And so I called your mom and said, hey, look, I know this is a little untraditional. I would have preferred to do this in person, but I love your daughter, and I want to ask her to be my wife.
This is also without you meeting my mom.
This is what I mean, but I had been speaking to her,
her.
developing a relationship over the phone.
Yeah.
And so I asked for her blessing to get married, and that I wanted to surprise you and propose when I came out there.
Got it.
And so I went out there.
And you got there in February.
I found a ring. I probably got about 2 or 3. I'm so indecisive.
Period.
Well, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm very indecisive. So with something like this, a wedding ring, I think I had bought and returned about 2 or 3 different rings. I liked it. Then I was like, nah, it's not good enough. Then I had another one. And I was like, nah, I don't like this one. And then I went and I was going to get the sizing or something. And I saw one more. And I was like, that's it. That's the winner. And so I went with that one. And so then I packed my bags.
Did you plan to be there around the same time as Yasmin's birthday?
Yeah, around Yasmin's birthday.
Just before or after. Yeah.
And so I had to tell you that I was coming, but you didn't know why I was really coming. Your mom was in the loop. And you guys get to wait to hear about the proposal on the next one.
I'm sorry, guys. It's called the cliffhanger.
Thank you all for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Going the Distance with NikoRox. If you connected with our story in any way, go ahead and share, download, and add it to your playlist. You know, all that fun stuff. Also, very important, we love interacting with our listeners. So if you have any questions or feedback, please direct them to nikolai.roxanne@gmail.com or find us on Instagram at NikoRox. I'm Nikolai, and this is my wife, Roxanne, aka Rock Sizzle. Peace and love.
Bye. Thank you guys for sticking around throughout that whole episode. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our channel. Also, you can find all our podcast episodes on Anchor as well as the other streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all those other ones.
Yep. You said it best.
Bye.